Okay, let's make some time.
You bet! Yeah!
In 1984, audiences fell hard for a scrappy romance adventure that had it all. Jungle chases, treasure maps, bandits, alligators, and one irresistibly mismatched couple. But one of the hottest, most talked about moments in Romancing the Stone wasn't even in the script. It happened when Michael Douglas, thinking the cameras were off, decided to cut loose on the dance floor with Kathleen Turner. He swayed, he twirled, he grinned. And director Robert Zemeckis, with a mischievous grin of his own, quietly kept rolling. That little bit of unscripted chemistry became one of the film's most iconic scenes. And the story behind it, along with the wild, muddy, dangerous shoot, is just as fun as the movie itself. Romancing the Stone follows Joan Wilder, played by Kathleen Turner, a successful but lonely romance novelist whose biggest adventures are usually confined to the pages of her books. That changes when her sister is kidnapped in Colombia, and Joan receives a treasure map in the mail, the ransom. Trading her typewriter for a plane ticket, Joan heads to South America, armed with little more than high heels, a fashionable skirt suit, and absolutely no survival skills. Her rescue mission immediately goes off the rails. She misses her contact at the airport, ends up stranded in the jungle, and runs straight into Jack Colton, Michael Douglas, at his most roguishly charming. Jack is a fortune seeker with a knack for rock climbing, a healthy appetite for danger, and a habit of charging for his help. The two form an uneasy alliance to find Joan's sister, navigate bandits, and figure out the mystery behind that map. Following them, and sometimes getting in their way, is Danny DeVito as Ralph, a small-time crook who is part comic relief, part chaos agent. The plot takes them from rickety buses to perilous mudslides, through gunfire, and face-to-face with a very real alligator. Along the way, Jack's rough edges start to soften, Joan's confidence blossoms, and the sexual tension between them simmers hotter than the Colombian sun. That chemistry wasn't an accident, but some of its best moments were. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories from the classics. Now, back to the video. The cast we got almost looked very different. The role of Jack Colton was at one time offered to Sylvester Stallone, who passed. Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, Paul Newman, and Christopher Reeve were also considered. For Joan, Deborah Winger was in the running, and before Douglas signed on, he wasn't entirely convinced. It wasn't just the risk of an unproven director. He wanted a role where he could put his teenage rock climbing skills, learned alongside his father, Kirk during Spartacus breaks, to good use. The production's Colombian setting? Pure movie magic. Real-world kidnapping threats in Colombia forced the filmmakers to move the shoot to Mexico, with most jungle sequences filmed in Veracruz. The treacherous mudslide scene, yes, the one with Jack and Joan tumbling into a pool of water, was so slick and dangerous that they used Wonder Woman's. It wasn't just stunts that were risky. Filming conditions were brutal. Constant rain, mud that swallowed boots, swarms of bugs, and the occasional live alligator. After one action scene, a gator slipped away from its handlers and attacked one of the trainers, grabbing his hand and dragging him underwater before the crew pulled him free. One of the lesser-known challenges during production was dealing with the muddy terrain on location in Mexico. Crew members recalled that heavy rains would turn filming areas into knee-deep sludge overnight, forcing equipment trucks to be pulled out by tractors and delaying shoots for hours. Zemeckis insisted on keeping as much of the mud in the final shots as possible, believing it added authenticity to the jungle adventure. Kathleen Turner later joked in interviews that by the end of filming, she had permanent pruny feet from spending so much time in wet boots. Director Robert Zemeckis, making only his second feature for a major studio, wasn't exactly in Kathleen Turner's good graces. She later said they argued constantly, clashing over blocking and camera setups that she felt made her perform in awkward, unnatural positions. Zemeckis, for his part, was a technical wizard fascinated with how shots were composed, perhaps foreshadowing his Back to the Future innovations. But his relationship with his leading lady stayed frosty. And that famous unplanned dance scene? It came at the end of the shoot. The crew set up a local fiesta for atmosphere, and Douglas and Turner started dancing with the extras during downtime. Douglas thought they were just passing time between takes, but Zemeckis had quietly started filming. When Douglas later saw the footage, he was shocked to discover it was in the final cut. But audiences love the spontaneous energy. A perfect "these two are falling in love" moment. The title "Romancing the Stone" comes from jeweler's jargon, meaning to prepare a gem for setting. Screenwriter Diane Thomas knew exactly how to polish her gem of a script. She was working as a waitress at the Coral Beach Cantina in Malibu when she pitched the story to Michael Douglas, who happened to come in for lunch. Douglas bought the rights for $250,000, changing her life overnight. Tragically, Thomas died in a car accident in 1985, just before the release of the sequel, The Jewel of the Nile, in the Porsche Douglas had given her as a thank you gift. Despite early doubts from the studio, who even fired Zemeckis from Cocoon after seeing a rough cut, Romancing the Stone became a huge hit. Its success greenlit Back to the Future, cementing Zemeckis as one of the decade's top filmmakers. Critics who had dismissed it as an Indiana Jones knockoff were silenced by audiences who fell for its blend of action, comedy, romance, and just enough danger to keep things exciting. The film's legacy is a mix of swashbuckling adventure and irresistible romance. The unscripted dance scene remains a fan favorite, a reminder that sometimes movie magic happens when the cameras aren't supposed to be rolling. And for those who were there, Romancing the Stone wasn't just a fun shoot. It was a muddy, risky, once-in-a-lifetime adventure that turned a waitress's dream into a Hollywood classic. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think the unplanned dance scene made the movie even hotter? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories from the classics.